Hey everybody, my name is Chris Americos and welcome to another lesson of Russian for Mom. That's right, this is another lesson that I've made for my mom to help her learn Russian. So in this video, what we're going to talk about is how to understand Russian nouns. And when we first approach learning Russian nouns, there are three things that we need to know. So every time we see a noun, we really need to be asking three questions to understand how to use this noun and to say the noun correctly. So first of all, the first thing that we need to be asking is we need to be asking about the number. And that means we need to be asking if this noun is either singular or plural. Nouns are going to have different endings depending on if this noun is singular or plural. And we'll see that actually there's not one ending for singular and plural, but there are many different endings. And it will depend on the other questions that we need to ask about nouns. So the second question that we need to ask about nouns, when we first see them, when we first see any noun, we need to ask about the gender. So Russian, like other European languages, has gender built into the nouns. So, it's not like in English where you say he or she only if the person or thing is biologically he or she. In Russian grammar, there's actually gender of any object. So any object that you see or come in contact with or speak about has a gender grammatically. And that doesn't mean biologically, just grammatically. So, for example, a wall is feminine, a board is feminine, marker is masculine, window is neuter. So those are the three genders of Russian. We have masculine, feminine, and neuter. Now, when we talk about genders, it's rather easy to understand which gender a word is usually. So if you're familiar with other languages and you've studied other languages before, especially European languages, then you know that in Italian or in Spanish, it's pretty easy. If there's an A at the end, it's feminine. If there's an O at the end, it's masculine. Well, it's very similar in Russian. Masculine nouns always end with a consonant. So it might end with a D or a T or an R. So for example, marker in Russian is marker, and the last letter of this word is R. And that means that it's masculine. Now, feminine nouns in Russian almost always end with an A, so an ah sound, or with a ya, but usually with an ah sound, an A. And neuter words end with O. Now, sometimes neuter words also end with ye, which looks like an English E, or sometimes they end with ya. So that can be difficult to understand if it's feminine or neuter when it ends with ya. Also, a lot of different words might be difficult to understand if it's masculine or feminine or neuter if it ends with myaky znak, which means the soft sign. So a word that ends with a soft sign, it could be it could be any of these really. But typically if it ends with a soft sign, I'm going to assume that it's going to be feminine. However, you can never really be sure until you hear it in context or you compare it to another noun that you already know. So that's a little more advanced. For now, you can just know that masculine ends in a consonant, feminine ends in A, and neuter ends in O or ye, which looks like E. And in Russian grammar, we have 6 cases. A case is something that's a little new to English speakers if you've never studied something like Latin or German or some other languages that have cases. But a grammatical case is basically an ending that goes on a word. In Russian, it's an ending. And this changes how this word is used in a sentence. So in English, most of the time we use the structure of the sentence, the position of the word in the sentence, to tell us what this word means in relation to other words. So, for example, if you say the fox sees the mouse or the mouse sees the fox, you know which word is the subject and which word is the object because of their positioning in the sentence, so their sentence structure. But in Russian, you could have these words in different positions, and as long as the ending is correct, everyone will understand. So you could say something in Russian like, the fox the mouse sees, or sees the fox the mouse. And it doesn't matter, everyone will understand which word is the object and which word is the subject. You might have the object first and the subject at the end, because the ending of the word is going to tell you which word is the object and which one is the subject. And we know about object and subject due to the grammatical cases. The same thing is happening in English when we speak about it, but we don't have endings of words that show this. Usually we're just using their positioning in the sentence. So, there are 6 grammatical cases. So this is the third question that we need to ask when we see a Russian noun. We need to ask, what case is it, right? So the 3 questions that we need to ask when we see a noun are, what number is it? Is it singular or plural? What gender is it? Masculine, feminine, or neuter? And what case is it? Nominative, genitive, accusative, dative, instrumental, or prepositional? Now I'm going to give you a very brief overview of what these 6 cases mean, but this is something that you have to go a lot deeper into, and it takes a while to really understand all of the different meanings and all the different uses. But in the beginning, you just need to know what they're there for. So nominative is basically the subject. So the subject of the sentence is going to be in the nominative case. It's also the case that you'll find words in when you look them up in the dictionary. So if you're asking about something, or if you're just pointing at something, you're saying, that's that thing, right? Then you're going to be using the nominative case, because this is the word itself. And then we have genitive case. Genitive case is basically like in English when we say of. So, if we said the color of the wall, then color would be nominative, and wall, of the wall, would be genitive. All right? So if we say of something, then it's usually going to be in the genitive case. Now there are other reasons that we would use genitive case also, but this is a really easy way to understand the main use of genitive case. Then we have accusative case. Accusative case is almost exactly the same as the direct object in English grammar. So if I said, I see you, then you is accusative case. It's the direct object. Whereas I is nominative case. It's the subject. Now if we change it, you see me, now you is the nominative case, the subject, and me is the accusative case. It's the direct object. And so when you're speaking about how things interact in a sentence, then you need to understand which one is nominative, which one is accusative, and then we can also add in dative. And dative will be like an English indirect object. So if we take a sentence like, the boy gave the ball to the dog. Okay, we have 3 different things in this sentence, right? 3 different actors, let's call them. Boy, ball, and dog. The boy gave the ball to the dog. The boy does the action. He's the subject of the sentence. So that's nominative. He gave what? So the action goes from the boy to what? Directly to the ball. The boy gave the ball. So accusative case tells us about this direct object. So the boy gave the ball, and then the action of the sentence goes from the ball to the dog. So it went from boy to ball to dog. It first went to the ball, that's direct object, right? That's accusative case. And then it went to the dog, indirect object, which is dative case. So when we want to show direction towards something or at something or to something, we're going to use dative case. Now, another case that we have here is instrumental case. An instrumental case is used to show using things, like an instrument or a tool. So for example, I'm writing with a marker, and if I wanted to say that phrase, I write with a marker, then I would use I would use instrumental case in this situation, because this is the tool or the instrument that I am using. That's what instrumental case is for most often. Now, we also use instrumental case when we say with. So if I wanted to say, I'm with you, or you are with me, then after with, we would use instrumental case. So we would say, I, nominative case, am with you, instrumental case. And you, nominative case, are with me, instrumental case. And the last case is prepositional case. We can use prepositional case when we talk about location, for example, like I am in this room. So if I said I'm in this room, I am is going to be nominative case, but then in this room, the word room will change, and we'll need to change it to the prepositional case. All right? So that's just a very quick example and a very brief overview of these cases. Each one of them deserves one or more lessons, and we're going to get into them later, but you don't want to get overwhelmed at the beginning, because as you can see, with one noun, you might have a masculine singular nominative, or you could have a masculine singular genitive, and the ending will be different. Or accusative, and the ending will be different again. So it depends on what the number is, what the gender is, and what the case is. And if it's feminine and it's singular nominative, then the ending will be different than if it's masculine singular nominative. So these are things that you need to just be aware of at the very beginning. And as we go through our lessons, you'll start to learn exactly what these things mean and how you can use them. And it's really important at the beginning not to worry too much about it, because with more and more and more examples, you'll get used to it and you'll understand what they mean. So that's it. That's what you need to be thinking about when you first approach learning Russian nouns. Also understand that Russian nouns are a lot different from Russian verbs. Russian verbs, they change in a different way. So they also change according to number or gender, but not according to grammatical case. All right? Case is only about nouns, and it's also about adjectives, but not about verbs. So when we talk about verbs, I'll show you how they change, and they change differently than nouns. But for now, that's it. So I hope you liked this lesson. If you liked it, make sure you press like and leave a comment down below. As always, if you want help with Russian, learning the language, or if you want help going to Russia, or if you want to get a job in Russia, then you can sign up for a consultation under this video. There's a link. I'd be happy to help you with that. I have a business in Russia. I've lived in Russia for 10 years, and I know a thing or two about Russia. So if that's your goal, if you want to go over to Russia, if you want to open a business in Russia, if you want to get a job in Russia, or maybe you just want to go over there and meet some people, then feel free to leave a comment or sign up for a consultation, and I'd be happy to help you out with that. All right? That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and feel free to share it with your friends or whoever else might find it interesting. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.